Hi friends, fair bullet a true story, which has already happened, and took the lesson of each consideration, a story with all its tragedies and all its cruelty, and with all divine justice, and the story is told as follows: in the days of summer, and on the coast of the sea, tragedies and events that work destructive work, in the destruction of homes and the collapse of morality and virtue. 5 years ago, his wife insisted on him and asked him to go to the sea resort, inhale his soft breeze, bathe in his waves and wrestle with his waves, and mix with the naked and scented naked rubbish enjoying its Red Sea, a tradition of unchecked strangers. For Satan, it was what is known and familiar. The family recognized another family, and the family had a young, muscular, beautiful, tall, and owned a luxury car, and does not have a deterrent or religion, and the young man offered his services and comfort for the devil, was promised and a meeting, and was a bathing of the sea, and was a yarn between the young man and wife. The man was the husband in a preoccupation with his wife, and her child at the beach enjoying the water, and had a date and a meeting is haram. Sheep and wolf, every day, the young man was looking forward to take the family, husband, wife and their child by car in the morning and evening to the sea, and they were all bathing in one place, and the wife did not improve swimming, so our friend volunteered to teach her to swim, and her husband was away from them to meet what he meets away from the sight of his wife, and was published his nets catch the symptoms of the people, leaving his exposure to that young man as the shepherd leaves the sheep to the wolf. Betrayal. The matter began between the wife and the young man to admire the Jericho, then the matter evolved to admire the body, and the guards left the thief, so the fire had to ignite and burned the marital sincerity and burned purity and chastity, and the wife loved her husband and cannot tolerate him patience, she became hated to meet him, and calculated minutes and hours to meet her lover the new. He replied, the young man wanted to get rid of the husband permanently, so he stayed in himself. He showed his sincerity and devotion to the husband, and expressed his admiration for his talents and manliness, and the wife continues to praise the magnanimity of the young man, and his love for her husband, trusted by the husband, and handed him the reins of the whole order. Drowning. One day, the wife became sick, so she stayed in her apartment with her child. The husband asked his wife to accompany his young friend to bathe in the sea, and the young man returned alone after 2 hours, to announce to the wife that her husband had drowned in the sea, and that he tried to recover him and his attempts failed. Crime and treachery. The sea was empty of people at the dawn of that day, and the sea was wavy and noisy, and the wave rises like mountains and descends as the meteors land from the sky, and the husband did not improve swimming, but the young man lured him to swim away from the beach, then left him a taste of the waves, crying no mujib, the waves swallowed him forever. Widow and criminal. The wife was an orphan without a breadwinner, and the young man was alone in his apartment away from his family, and the young man tenderly and eagerly to share his apartment and fate, and showed her willingness to embrace her child for her, and for her unholy love, and promised to marry the wife. She settled there, and her child was 4 years old, thinking that the young father, calling him with all his heart, Baba, malicious thief, and asked him to marry him till first gently in courtship, and then cruelly in violence, and after months changed the gentle young man to a malicious thief. He showed his discontent from her and her child, and his heart attached to other women, became in his apartment away from his sense of it, sheltering her in the last watch of the night. Winter day. On the morning of winter, the young man was eating his breakfast, and that wife was admonishing him and demanding to marry her. He showed his poisonous fangs, revealed the truth that he was covering before, and asked her to evacuate the apartment, because he intended to marry and settle down. No avail. Her tears rained heavily, and reminded him of the beautiful sweet past, but it was like the deaf rock cruelty and violence, and the innocent child does not know the tears of the meaning of tears, and does not understand what is going on around him, and the wife begged the young man long tears and memories in vain. Child and weapons. The child was playing with the pistol of the young man who was at his side, and the young man was busy with him, and he knew for sure that the pistol was devoid of gear, because he was removed from his equipment after returning to his apartment in the last watch of last night, but it was drunk that does not differentiate between light and darkness, away with his mind in the stream of wine and vice. Fair bullet.